Hello and welcome to the Mindset User to User podcast. First, I hope everyone is doing great. I hope everyone is safe and well while listening to this new episode of this absolutely brilliant podcast. But before diving into today's episode, there is something that I wish to say. So I've mentioned many times that mindset is an active and ongoing process. And of course, I said many times that there are different approaches. Now, the point where I would like to draw your attention is, as we go along our journey into mindset to achieve the dominance over our minds, you will notice that these episodes will become less and less instructional, let's say, and more about me giving you insights. What I mean is, if you remember the first episode, consistency, my voice was telling you, if you want to train consistency, you have to do this. Or for example, this is how you meditate. From now on, as our journey progresses into mindset, you will hear more insightful episodes, such as this one that you are just about to listen. The goal is, or at least my target is, giving you the point of view that you need, or the point of view that will allow you to dominate your mind. If this concept doesn't make sense now, it will at the end of the episode. You will fully understand what I mean. But let's now dive into today's episode, the white belt approach. As we did a few times in the past episodes, let's answer a question. Have you ever heard the expression, we are all white belts? Some of you, especially those who practice martial arts, they might be familiar with it. And for those who are not familiar with martial arts, it's very simple. I just need to explain you in order to better understand what I mean. How the rank system works within the wide world of martial arts. So ranks in martial arts are assigned on a color code basis, which means there are colors that identifies the ranks. You start from white, which is the lowest, all the way to the top, which is generally black or red. It depends. But let's focus on the white part. So white is the lowest rank you can have. So martial arts are part of my past experience. I've been practicing them for quite a few years and I've learned so many things, and I would like to talk about this in a separate or in another episode. However, over time I've learned the expression, remember to always be a white belt, many times. And only now, after a few years, I can truly appreciate the meaning of it, because it goes extremely well with mind setting. It's a very important thing. Remember you're always a white belt, or remember to always be a white belt. But what being a white belt means? Being a white belt basically means you have everything to learn. You are the least experienced, you are the lowest rank in the gym or the dojo, call it however you want it, and everyone is a learning opportunity. So you can learn everything, literally, because you know nothing, no? So you are at the bottom of the pyramid, of the rank pyramid, I should say. And when you are fully aware of this, that you have to learn everything because you are new to something, or at least when you're fully aware of the condition of having everything to learn, you will always be watching meticulously other people because you want to learn from them. Needless to say how beneficial this mindset is. Yes, this is already a mindset. This is a state of mind, if you prefer. So white belt means everything and every dynamic is a learning opportunity. And you know that because you will constantly, in the gym, in the dojo, you will always be corrected by people with higher rank than you, know. They will be teaching you, they will be correcting you, even on the smaller details. But you know that you have to learn. So when I said this is already a state of mind, it means that you are already learning oriented, which means you know you have to learn, and hence when you watch, when you listen, you will pay even more attention than you would do normally, because you have to learn. And that is, as I said before, extremely beneficial. I think it's pretty obvious and needless to say. Now, let's move briefly from the martial art worlds to, for example, a working environment. So when you first start on a new job, you most likely have to learn a lot of things. Probably everything is to learn. And hence, as I said, you will pay very close attention to the people around you to learn as much and as fast as possible, because you have to do good, no? That's what you would have as an approach. You are in a new environment and you perfectly know that everywhere there is a learning opportunity. Now, mindset-wise, as I said, when you know you have everything to learn, your mind will be welcoming new information and knowledge, of course. Your mind will place you in the position to learn. And this is the beneficial pattern that we are trying to develop. Now, always speaking of patterns, there is another pattern that our mind is extremely likely to develop as our experience grows, so over time, basically. And what happens is that over time, we tend to consider ourselves as, let's say, arrived. So as time goes by and as our experience grows, we start to think that we know it all. And of course, this will be enforced as other people, newer people, of course, will look at us as a learning opportunity. So after 5 years practicing martial arts, you will have new white belts. They will looking at you as a learning opportunity. Or, for example, if you are at work, you learn the tricks of your job, you improve, of course. And new people coming in to do the job, they will look at you as a learning opportunity. Most likely, you will find yourself teaching these people how to do their job. What will happen as we are in this position of, let's say, power, or in this more experienced position, is that our mind will be seduced by the idea of being the best. You know, being that guy that knows it all. Being in that spot where people will look at us as an example to follow. And let me say, how nice or how fascinating it is to be in this position. A lot indeed, of course. That's because our mind is easily seduced by pleasure. The pleasure of being seen as very, very important, you know, that sort of love for power, we might say. Now, if on one side we might feel extremely happy by this position, we are praised and looked at as a positive example, people will come to us asking for help, asking for advices. On the other side, our mind will slowly start to preclude ourselves from most, if not all, the learning opportunities. Lastly, possibly falling into arrogance as well. I think we can all think of that guy that is very arrogant because he thinks he knows it all. Think about it. And if you cannot find that guy, bad news might be you. But remember, it's never too late to change direction. Together with the pattern where our mind is seduced and it will start to preclude ourselves from learning because we think we know it all, there is another insight I want to give you. Not only your mind will preclude yourself from learning because you think you know it all, but also you will start to consider other people's opinions as less important, especially when a new opinion or a new view comes from someone that is lower rank or, let's say, less experienced than you. The white belt approach is designed to prevent this pattern to take place in your mind. If you keep thinking that you can learn, you will learn. Or at least you will bring something new, let's say at home with you, which is, I would say, very important. Because of course, as you have a lot of experience into something, you're very likely to know a lot of it. But I can grant you, if you're always learning oriented, if you think you can learn something, you will always bring something home with you. Always. It might be a new point of view, or why not? You might be put in the position to think, to question your knowledge or your opinion, to the point where you might come up with new ideas, new solutions, etc., etc., etc. That's the important part about the white belt approach. You remember when I said, always remember to be a white belt means always remember you can learn. Now, don't get me wrong. Using the white belt approach and always thinking that you can learn something doesn't mean diminishing your expertise, of course. It just means keeping an open mind towards learning opportunities. Learning is the way we improve. That is a basic mechanism behind mind setting. And I would say behind the human race. Learning is the way we improve. There is no other way. Lastly, about this approach, there is something else that you might bring home today from this podcast. And is that the white belt approach will also prevent you from being seduced by arrogance, and will also help you to stay humble, which is indeed very important. Again, don't diminish your expertise, just be open towards learning. Now you might ask me the question, how do we train this approach into our mind? Well, exactly as I said at the beginning of this episode, unfortunately, there is no instruction for this. However, by now you should have acquired all the skills that you need, such as consistency, meditation, exposure. And from now on, basically, your mind should be lucid enough to notice when you're falling prey of considering yourself arrived. So considering yourself the guy that knows it all. Just noticing these moments throughout your day, your routine, it's already half of the work done, if you ask me. Because by noticing when you're falling prey of this pattern where you think, oh, I know everything, being aware of that, it's already the very first part of the job. And I would say the most important, because you are recognizing something, which means when you recognize something, it means your mind is lucid. A lucid and a sharp mind is something that you can use and that you can dominate easily compared to a confused mind, which is fogged by thoughts and random stuff. So from now on, when you get the chance throughout your day, and when you're faced with, for example, a new opinion or a different idea from a friend, a relative, a parent, a colleague, ask yourself, what can I learn? What are the implications with this new view? And of course, what are the differences between this idea, this opinion, and my opinion? And these questions are designed to force yourself to think that you can learn something from this new opinion, let's say. And you'll be surprised by how much you will discover and eventually learn out there. Again, learning is improvement after all. So, thank you so much for listening. This is the end of episode number 8, the White Belt Approach. As always, I remind you, we do have the Instagram page, which is there for you to interact with us. We will try to answer each and every one of you if you have any topics you want to discuss with us, or if you need any clarification, we are over there. And I'll see you again next week with a new episode of the Mindset User to User podcast.